born in Tennessee, and at 2 months old, my parents took me to Indonesia. And then they came back when I was 7 to Northern California, Eureka, on the North Coast. Beautiful, foggy, drizzly place that became really home and the place I feel like I grew up. When I was at Walla Walla University, I experienced a panic attack for the first time. I was walking through the hallway, experiencing the day, and boom, I felt like the room was spinning. I felt like I was going to maybe lose my mind or have a heart attack. I just had to get out of there. So I just ran out of the building, and I was with my girlfriend, and she didn't know what in the world was going on. She came out and said, what happened? I don't know what happened. So finally went to a therapist. The therapist said, you have an anxiety disorder. When I was experiencing the symptoms of anxiety, I was having a hard time concentrating on my homework. I was having a hard time just moving through the day. I was so afraid that really out of that fear, I sought help. I sought care. There's first this sense of relief. Okay, there's a name for what I have. Other people have experienced this. There's a way to care for it. There's a way to get support. There's somebody to talk to about it in the therapist. I felt good about that. I don't remember anyone in particular planting a stigma in my head, but I sure felt it. I felt embarrassed at having a mental health condition. And I felt like I really couldn't tell anyone, or they would judge me, hold me back, make assessments of my capabilities, think I was weird, whatever the case may be. My son's college asked me to speak for a student assembly. And 3,000 kids come in and they sit in an auditorium and someone speaks. And they asked me because I was a business leader. But I thought, wow, I should talk about what happened to me in college, which was my mental health struggle began. Afterward, when I stopped, people lined up in the center aisle to talk to me. Students, and one after the other, kind of looking around, not wanting to be heard by the person waiting behind them. They told me their story, and how did you do it, and how do I do it, and what do I do, and what do you recommend? And I thought at that moment, I need to talk more about this. So it started there. Then I went back to work, and I thought, I'm gonna talk to my executive team. A number of people reported to me, and I thought, I haven't told them my story. So I went from that small team to the employee team. I had 30,000 employees that worked in my division, and I started talking openly and started getting direct emails and incredible stories, difficult stories, learned some things about services, support, and access we hadn't provided. I felt like, wow, I've failed people for a long time just because the conversations couldn't happen. So when you talk about it, when you're vulnerable first, when I was vulnerable first, I learned people will then be vulnerable back, but many won't start. They won't tell you their story first. It's too scary. I'll tell my story first. I'll trust the audience with the story. I'll trust them not to think less of me for it. And when I do that, then I can connect with people on a real level instead of putting on a face that's not really me. Science, it's important. Many of the things we call illnesses in the mental health space are actually symptoms because we don't understand the underlying conditions well enough. And I've had a whole career in healthcare and understand you can treat symptoms, but to really resolve an issue, you've got to understand the underlying condition. And One Mind is investing heavily in research to understand underlying conditions. So the way that we combine research with advocacy with cultural messaging with access creation, and the way we take that out into the general consumer and also to the workplace is really powerful. It's a whole brain approach to saying we're going to tackle this thing on a large scale. And it's something that's very exciting, effective, and full of potential. When stigma is reduced in the workplace, when leaders speak and tell their stories, and workplaces start to open up and conversations start to happen, people's lives can be changed.